Betsy and Thomas here for the American Intelligence Media. Thomas, this month is Senior Executive Services Awareness Month. And as you know, some of our listeners, we have about 100 alternative media creators who will fly in and get material from our site and then use that to tell the story of the day, the week. And this month we're all going to be focused on the Senior Executive Service because this is something that every citizen in America needs to be aware of. So in the description box below, you're going to find a link, and in that link, you're going to find all kinds of tools and suggestions and memes and videos and all kinds of goodies for you to use on your own blogs. And we encourage you, of course, to create your own material. And if it's really good, we want you to send it to us because we all need to be sharing and getting this out. Now, the Senior Executive Service has gone to great pains to hide itself among us. And one of the things it did, it took these plum books and it made sure that we couldn't search to find their names. So when you go into that description, you're going to find research tools that you can use to search those books because the amazing team at Americans for Innovation spent days, and they still work on it, on taking those plum books apart so that they are searchable. Now, I'm telling you that up front because as Thomas explains this and whizzes by, I want you to make sure to see all your resource materials, kind of like your kit bag to help you kick off this month. Thomas, what do you think about this? Are we rocking in the alt media or what?
Well, SES, when we threw down the gauntlet, has caused a furor. It's caused an uproar. And the tidal wave has taken out a bunch of people who won't address the topic because they simply won't read about it in Wikipedia and realize that right in front of their eyes, the deep state that they have been, wanting to take down is very clearly the Senior Executive Services, the Federal Executive Services, the many names. I can reel off 10 of them. But now every day, as you say, Michael McKibben and his geniuses are helping leader Americans for Innovation, in that group find nuggets and post it on their timeline. And it's just amazing. Every day, all day long, we're getting so-and-so, it was SES, so-and-so's SES, so-and-so's SES.
Well, then the picture becomes very clear now who our enemy is. These are anti-Americans that are entrenched in our system. I just have to give you the analogy of, imagine it's World War II or right before World War II, you're just living your life and somebody says that, down the street, Herr Grossen is SS. And you go, oh yeah, okay, whatever that is, at what point did the German people get awakened to the SS? And that's where we are here in America. It's there, it's right in front of us, but we have to help people wake up to it.
Well, let's just talk about modern day Angela Merkel. She's invited this basically an invasion, not a migration. 2% of those people are working in the countries. 1.5 million in her country, less than 2% actually have jobs, and of those, they haven't kept them very long. So she basically ordered an invasion of Europe, and no one seems to notice. Well, matter of fact, they defend it.
Yeah, well, because it's all this mind control and brainwashing that's going on. And we saw that with the Q phenomena, that psyop that was running on people. They're so brainwashed they can't see the obvious. So you have people in Germany who can't see that this is an invasion, people. You're being invaded.
For instance, with the Q, all 3 Q sites went down at once. They're not back up yet, as far as I know. I could be wrong.
Well, remember, in YouTube world, we're beyond time and space, so it might already be back up now.
Okay, good point. But nobody wants to talk about it that is a Q follower. That's how you believe things so much. Because why do you believe things? Because they make you feel comfortable. You give your ego away to someone else that you trust, and then you don't have to do the homework yourself. And we're trying to wake people up and say, hey, look at what we've done. Here's the intelligence reports. Do your own homework. Look these things. We have them. Here, follow these URLs. Follow this. Figure it out yourself. Everything we're telling you is backed up by research. And even when we made opinions the other day about Q, we posted tons and tons of proof that it got through us and was vetted by us, and it was absolutely point on. And now it's just more true the more we find out. So the point is SES was right in front of us. It's legal. And some people say, oh, please be nice. We've supposedly, because of this and because of the work of Phil McConnell and Abel Danger, who is connected to the person, Christine Marcy, who founded the SES and put it into play, the Civil Service Reform Act of 1978 took them a little while to get it in play. But now we understand the mechanism of it. We understand the prototype that was the Federal Executive Institute and the levels above GS15, so GS 16, 17, and 18, that were the prototype for the intelligence community, which was then expanded into the SES. Now, when they say, oh, these are people who came up through merit. If they came up through merit, they knew exactly what they were getting into when they got into the executive service. Let's just call it, there's many forms of this, and it's in all branches. And now we have produced the evidence, the documentation, and the tools, as Betsy pointed out. You can search, find out who's who. Like John Huber just appointed the secret person that Jeff Sessions appointed to help Michael Horowitz. He wouldn't tell the name for all this time. Finally, it comes out. You know why he wouldn't tell the name? Plug him into the SES search engine. He's SES. So he's part of the deep state. He's
Imagine,
part of the
you're in
shadow
Germany,
government.
and somebody said, oh, he's a part of the SS. I mean, that's where I'm trying to break through to people, is that this is an enemy that has lodged itself inside our government, which is Marxist, anti-American, and whose objective is to take us down through their push of globalism.
The way there's true corruption and the money is just flowing like a river of corruption is when the Clintons come in and put a toll booth and tax them. And we just found out through some good research of some friends that the Clinton Executive Institute trains foreigners, gets them top secret security clearances without background checks because they can't vet somebody from Pakistan or wherever. And then they place them in the government wherever they need to be placed. And that's just an SES placement, can be anywhere. And they have all this power and nobody can touch them. And nobody understands that. Well, we told you how it works. There's the Federal Executive Institute, the Senior Executive Institute, which is spread out through numerous universities and other places they teach the course. And the Clintons put in a toll booth and got their tax on SES by starting this Clinton Executive Institute, where basically they just show you some films that are basically, I don't know any other way to say it, but it's just brainwashing. And once you get that you're part of this cadre that runs the government, and your job is just to slow walk everything unless you get an order. Unless you get, a tweet on your phone that says this is the new direction. And then you have to follow those directions. And right now, of the 10,000, about 9,000 are Obama appointees, so we call them Obama's cadre inside the government, still resisting the fact that Trump got elected and still continuing the attempted coup d'etat, impeachment, and all the other names, the Secret Society, the Trump investigation, the Papadopoulos counter-investigation, the Carter Page dossier investigation, the fake testimony before the FISA court, on and on, the Mueller fake investigation, which is just there to cover up the tracks, just like Horowitz. So what can we get out of this? Well, because of the genius of Trump, he has done an omnibus budget. He let them take it to the end. Did you hear him pressuring on the budget? No. Why? Omnibus. That means he gets to do what he wants. He has so many slush funds, and as we pointed out, he's going to use the $700 million for the military, the $712 billion for weapons, and he's already said it now, and it was announced again, I think, yesterday when he asked someone, and they said, yes, I'll be glad to use the National Guard to build the wall, to secure the border.
Thomas, that's all, very, very interesting stuff, but the topic right now is senior executive services.
So let's say you get hired, whether you're in Homeland Security and the border, and you're a top executive telling people what to do, or whether you're in nuclear, so that you can allow, like Jeff Sessions, being in the Homeland Committee, allow the uranium to leave America and go across the border. That's why we now know exactly what we were indicated, that Jeff Sessions is he's totally turned a blind eye to uranium. One, the 10-year-long investigation of TANAM in America, the Russian control of our uranium, blah, 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 blah. So we have now revealed that in a tape earlier. So as you
And Rod Rosenstein is SES.
Yes.
Andrew McCabe was SES.
Christopher Wray.
Robert Mueller is SES.
John Podesta.
Oh my gosh.
Dinesh.
Justice Scalia is SES. I mean, it'll shatter you because we even found who?
We will.
You were going to say it.
I didn't say it. We're going to show you tell you with Michael McKibben on the show soon that he has been down in the mines digging this stuff up, and you are not going to believe the tripwires, the sabotage that were put into the plum book so that nobody could find out who these people are. No, there are sections that it point blank states not available for this report. These are salaries of civil servants, or should be, but basically they're not civil servants. They don't even work under the Office of Personnel Management. They have their own section, and we like to call them the fifth column because they put a column on their seal, and they call themselves the keystone that controls the whole thing. The whole civil service department is controlled by these people. And that's not an exaggeration. When you see the lists of people who are there, you go, wait a second, this is every criminal. Bruce Orr is one of the 50 lawyers who determines who gets one of the 3 levels of awards. One of the awards, presidential awards, which can be given perpetually, is a 35% increase on your base pay. Has anyone ever heard of such a thing before?
Does our military get pay adjustments like that?
Our military is starved, paid little, not supported in many cases in Iraq, sold out to mercenaries like Halliburton and KBR.
We've got to stay in because the point was that our military is not even paid what these people are. But Obama's army is being paid a lot more than our own army.
The mercenaries were paid much, much, much more than our own troops, which were doing the same work right next to them, putting their life on the line. When the mercenaries like Z and KBR and
Are they SES?
That's what I'm telling you. They couldn't get those jobs without SES members inside of our government giving out no-bid contracts to Halliburton over and over and over again. How did that happen? Why did the courts cover this up? SES. Look at anybody covering up anything. Plug them into the system. SES. Now, let me describe what SES. It's almost like joining the SS, yes.
But before you go there, just folks need to know, and I would hope that some of the alt media creators that are listening and thinking about things that they could do, ideas to spread this, is you want to compare the military salaries to the salaries of these SES people. That would be a huge eye-opener for your audience. The other thing is look into the pensions. Once you leave SES, okay, Thomas, you're going to go there, but once you leave, you can have a very hefty pension. And we are finding that there even could be people in the alt media space who are collecting these pensions and still pushing out a narrative that won't take us to disclosure of SES. And then the third thing is SES funding any of the alt media folks out there and propping them up? And again, an easy test for this is to see how far your favorite alt media channel will go in its discussion of SES. But go to the retirement thing.
Well, one person that I know of for sure, because we've just found it in the Plum book a few days ago when I asked if they would search, is an alt media person, ex-CIA, and he's SES. And so we are finding this out. And soon, once we get this thing all figured out and get all the books finished and get them all in a searchable condition after taking out all the tripwires and the sabotage. And by the way, do not go through Google. Don't go to the Google key to look into this. We'll tell you about this. I don't understand it enough to explain it to you, but Michael McKibben will explain to you. Don't go get these off the net.
No, it's best to use our research tool.
No, only use us. We have cleaned them up, and the search tools are now going to documents that had to be cleaned up that were so full of sabotage that you don't want to go near them. But anyway, the point is they're trying to hide all of these things. Now, we haven't found all of the different branches of SES. People are telling us it's even much bigger, and people are chiming in, and we want to thank all those people who are helping us so much by pointing us in directions, and then we go and check it out, and you're right. The person who told us about the Federal Executive Institute, that's what led us to understand what the prototype is, which also led us to find another person in the alt media that actually works in the original, because the original SES also had a thing called the Senior Cryptological Service. And it had GS 16, 17, and 18. And it was the prototype for what was then by Christine Marcy fully implemented a year or two later in the SES ranks. Now, the SES ranks were then fought over, and every aspect of the federal government fought to get SES in there, because what they flew under the flag of, hey, this is getting experts from the outside, we pay them more, but that's because they have expertise. Well, that's complete nonsense now, because they're rotated around, so they're not even working in their area of expertise in many areas, and in many circumstances. But they work in all branches. So at first, it wasn't in the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA, and the NSA. But then we have the paperwork, and we've shown it to everyone through what Betsy has pointed out here, the work that has been revealed through our SES diggings, that these things are completely pervasive. And when you see the people on the list and you look at the mechanism will blow your mind. Now, I want to get hired as an SES member. So
okay, before you go
can I
on,
give you an example of what could happen?
I just wanted to say before you go on, folks, these folks are at the national level, but also the state level. So if you can even look into your own state and see how they've lodged themselves in your government. All right, go ahead.
And you won't believe it. You won't believe the people that we are going to reveal. We want to reveal a bunch of them at once when the whole system is complete, so that none of it can be taken down, as these people will not like the fact that Betsy is going to reveal them in a way.
Oh, put it on me.
Yeah, you came up with that idea that is going to just be hysterically funny, but also true. So what we want to do is ask a lot of questions, okay, of these people. That's the whole point. And we want Trump to say, oh, okay, well, I think that if any of this is true, and they wouldn't have told him this, no one knows this, it's right in front of their eyes, but nobody knows it.
They're covering it up. I mean, seriously.
They have these peculiar people who are appointed to executive positions in agencies they don't even know what they're doing, but they're in charge. And they even control the presidential appointees. They're a buffer.
Well, I can't believe that Donald Trump would run any of his businesses with this kind of business model.
He tried to work with the intelligence community. He found that they were so awful and such liars, and that you couldn't move off mark. So he put Rex Tillerson in charge of the State Department, so corrupt that if you can't find corruption there by just having half of your eye open, one half of one eye, then you're blind. So he goes in, anybody get arrested? Any indictments? Any house cleaning? How about the fact that Bruce Orr was working with Christopher Steele, giving FBI information and information from the DNC, from Sidney Blumenthal? Hello, you'd have to be blind not to see this. So Rex, blind? No, he's not so blind as he had many people in between him and doing his job.
And not to forget that there is a class of lawyers that are kind of at the top of the pecking order of this organization, and there are 500 of them, so much, there may be a little few, around there, and they work at the DOJ, and they're SES, and they're to protect the rank and file. And folks, we're paying for this.
And the people who say to us, no, go look on in the Plum Book, it says this is the review board. Read the first paragraph, it says it's one of the review boards. There's the highest review board is 498 full-time SES, and that means forever probably, because they get a tenure after 1 year and their pay continues forever. And we don't know how long these presidential awards last. Does the 35% keep increasing each year because they get a raise each year? So if they get an award each year, one of three types, they get either a 10%, 20%, or 35% increase on their base pay. They were hired in many times at the very, very minimum 160, which is above most elected officials, and then that's the base pay. Then they get because they're SES, it's a given. Like a Rex Tillerson, I think he was SES. You hire John Podesta. These people know they're worth a lot of money, so when they come into the government, they say, no, you have to pay me a lot more money. They say, oh yeah, we got a mechanism for that. You're a highly professional person, so we're going to give you this other pay scale. It's going to be secret. No one's going to know. Every year you're going to get a raise. If you get a presidential award that year, you get one of these gigantic bonuses, which we have yet to figure out whether they continue in perpetuity, which they might. We know that their tenure is automatic after 1 year and they can't be fired after that, even though they work as at will. They're not at will. Everything about it is subterfuge. It's lies. hideous, hideous obfuscation of the organization that runs our federal government, that even stops a president from getting their work done.
It's like a cancer running through the lifeblood of this nation.
It is a parasite. It is a scum. It is a mold. It isn't even risen up to the level of a lichen, because it isn't conscious. It's a reflex. When people see money flowing, the evil greed in them and the 7 deadly sins take them over, and they want to get a piece of the pie. Like the Clintons, anywhere money is flowing, they siphon some off. That's what they do. Why would anybody be surprised? You want to find crime? Look at their 27 their foundations and initiatives and blah, 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 blah. But you know what? Jeff Sessions put somebody on that, so don't you worry, though they haven't found anything.
I would like to close, and I'm going to say that over the next few months, we may find that some of your favorite alt media channels are outed because they won't go as far in dealing with SES. But that's all the more reason why, if you can start a blog or start your own YouTube channel, find a way to communicate this to a larger audience, then we can just bypass all the shills, we can bypass mainstream media, and we can reach the people in a really different way, because we're in a new age, in a new way of gathering news, and it's really important that we all join in the effort. So again, look at the link below to get some great ideas, and when you do produce your work, please send it to me. And if you heard this, and it's not, I forgot, last month was Military Tribunal Awareness Month, and this month is Senior Executive Services Awareness Month. But if you hear this in another month, it doesn't matter. You need to just join in and help us bring truth out any way you can.